Hey everyone, so it's February 20th, 2011. This will be the first video for the 2011 season. Um, I have some big plans. I plan to actually really develop the website into something more professional, such as, to kind of go along with the professionalism I put into my garden, into uh, growing vegetables and fruits. So this year, made a couple slight changes. For one is fertilizer. This year I'm going with a Job's Organics vegetable and tomato. They make many varieties for many different. They also have one for herbs. They also have one for shrubs. But I'm sticking with the one that's for fruits and vegetables for a good reason. That's the only thing I really like to grow. The difference with this product is it breaks down complex organics, such as tossing a whole apple to the garden. It's not going to do much for the plants. The plant's not going to eat a whole apple for nutrients. So what it does, it breaks it down into a more simpler form by using biology, by using microbes and bacteria to break down these complex organics into more friendlier forms for plants. That's easier for the roots to absorb and easier for it to distribute throughout the plants. So the way it worked was, the way I did it this year, I laid down the weed barrier. Underneath the weed barrier, I gave it a nice helping of the bacteria to break down the organics that are already present, which is quite a few, because I did dump a lot of bags of compost, and you can also see there's a lot of mulch. Mulch also has its own organics, a little slightly complex because it's mostly just ground up wood bark, ground up wood, ground up waste. But there's tons of nutrients in it, and giving a little help to break it down. Now, I pulled out my tomatoes mid-October 2010. This is where they were last year. I also recall there were some sunflowers up in the back as well. The reason why I started in October was you have to allow the soil to rest. I call it a soil hibernation. Basically giving it the same amount of time off hibernating as I did allowing plants to grow in it, so that it can re-strengthen, regain lost nutrients that the plants pulled in order to grow. So I went with the weed barrier, and on top there's a lot of mulch, and also underneath the weed barrier is some more Job's fertilizer. And I did do a test, and I did, stuck a shovel in there, I turned a section, and there's tons and tons of worms. So that's a great sign. Great sign. So that means I won't need to rely on any kind of manure, sludge, or anything that's inorganic. Even though I've never used it before, I've always stayed away from it, and I still will. Only thing I will add to it before the planting season is compost. I will churn in some compost, and also I'll churn in all of the mulch and wood chips will all get churned into the soil, and I will lay a new fresh layer of mulch once everything's churned in. Now, for this section, if you recall, I had onions last year. You'd be surprised, these are the exact same onions. For some reason they never really reached their full potential last year. They stayed pretty small, basically the size. The onions were about the size of little pearl onions, little white pearl onions, which wasn't the goal. I'm looking for nice, fat, brown onions, yellow onions. But I'll use them if they're, a good enough size for cooking. And of course, all these tops can be used. as green onions, as scallions in your dishes. So if the onion doesn't really reach full potential, feel free to come out and just chop one of the tops off and use it as a green onion. And over the winter, I planted a lot of succulents. If you recall this puppy, this guy was massive, and I was able to pull quite a few spawns off of it. It split into so many different plants. I was able to take each cutting and put it in its own pot. So I hope they all achieve about the same size and they bloom, you know, as beautiful as the first one did. Right here, I'm doing grapes again. This is actually a different brand. The one I did last year did not take off. It produced nothing. It just had a couple leaves and didn't do anything at all. This right here is a flame grape, seedless, so that means there's no need for cross-pollinating. It's self-pollinating, so I don't have to worry about, you know, the lack of bees. There is a beehive, but I haven't seen any bees for a while, and apparently it's a problem. Right here is boysenberry. Planted this in fall of last year, 2010, and it's really it took off a little bit, put out a couple berries, not much, but I have high hopes for it this year since it's had the whole fall, winter to become established. Right here, if you can see it, this is a blackberry. This is an ebony king blackberry, and it's just now starting. I tried one last year, but I noticed that the roots, it didn't grow, and when I removed it, I noticed that all the roots were gone. So it was just a stem in the soil that I was wishing would grow, and it was complete dead. And right here is another ebony grape. I'm sorry, this is a flame grape. There's no need for cross-pollinating, but I just put two here. Be nice. And the rosemary I've had for 5 years. Started off with just a tiny little thing and just stuck it in the ground. Look how huge it is. I don't have to do anything with it. It's actually in the worst soil in the entire yard, but it loves its spot. So, also this year I'm planning to do more in the back. Last year I showed that I built the raised beds. Those are currently still empty. I still need to do some work with removing the lawn, putting down a weed barrier, and also buying enough soil to fill it. I'm estimating about $500 in material and about a good couple weekends to get it all set up and actually usable. Also need to do some changes with the irrigation. As you can see, there's a couple of sprinklers around. They don't really work that well. The plan is to remove each sprinkler and turn it into a spigot. So there's about 3-4 total. So that'll really help give me expand my irrigation options for each section. So that's all for now, folks. It's February 2011. My seeds have started. I'm doing them indoors, so I'll go ahead and show that soon. I'll do another post today, maybe tomorrow morning, and just go over how I'm doing my seeds this year. Alright, till later. Bye.